here I am with another book review. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Vampire Slaying. This is by Grady Hendrix. I have to say that overall, I really like this book. I read right through it. I'm at the library again and I'm about to go drop it off. See people pulling in and out over here. But my camera is broken, so I'm not really able to do my book reviews as well like I was doing. But I'll do them as I can. Sorry, I gotta take a breath sometimes. So, this book review, pretty much, I'm just gonna say that I really did enjoy this book, and there are a couple of trigger points for certain type of people. I would say, to an extent, some sexual abuse trigger points. You'll have to read the book to find out, but it does have some of that stuff in it. And the other thing that I would say is, to an extent, maybe some potential child abuse as well. But you would have to find the book, read the book to find that out and handle it however you can handle it. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Vampire Slaying, pretty much, without giving it a spoiler away, it kind of tells you in the name what this book is about. It's about these women down south who live in this great small town where everything is, you know, fine and dandy and the kids can play outside, and there is another side of town called 6 Mile, and over there in 6 Mile the children start disappearing, and they also start disappearing at night, and then they start, here's another trigger point, trigger warning, they start committing suicide, and these are children. So they're trying to figure out, or at least one of them, the main character, Patricia, she's the one that's most interested in it, and she thinks that there's something going on with this guy who moves in. I am all over the place with this book review, but I'm trying to give you the gist here. So, this guy that moves in, there's this lady, and she's just a couple houses down from Patricia. And she's kind of sickly, she's an old lady, and she ends up dying, and there's a little story in between there too. But she ends up dying, this lady, and so I think it's her nephew. His name is James. He comes moving in, they also call him Jim. He comes moving in and he pretty much starts living in her house. And so now James is the neighbor to Patricia. And James starts getting real friendly with Patricia and starts trusting her with some secrets, and pretty much Patricia then finds that maybe she should probably not trust this guy. And that being said, she brings it up to the book club, and she brings up her fears and all these things with her fears, and it's pretty much about a story about, you know, the book club and the tightness that they got. And I really like the book. It's hard to describe it because they just have like a good intertwined friendship, and then they have their conflicts and everything else going on with the book. But it is about vampires. There are some triggers to it, but if it came in to be a movie, I would probably watch it. It is a dark book. It takes place, I don't know where it actually takes place, but for sure, I could picture a lot of the scenery in like a southern town in the summer. And I know some of it is like October and November when some of it occurs, but for the most part I was just picturing this town like sweltering and just this warmer southern town. I'm in Arkansas myself, and so that's kind of how I was picturing a lot of this going down, but maybe a little muggier, a little hotter. And it also takes place, a lot of the book, in like 1994, I believe. Let me see. 1993. And then it jumps to 3 years later. 93, 94, So 1996 is when some of the book also takes place. So it's back in the 90s, and these women are just kind of like, to an extent, housewives, and their husbands, they're also kind of like, they don't want nothing to do with believing the women, so the women have to figure out themselves what they're going to do about the situation. And they're concerned because children are going missing, children are committing suicide, and they think that there's a link, so they have to go and figure it out. That being said, let's see. This book was copyright in 2020, so it's been out for a couple years, but apparently it's pretty popular right now. As well as in the library that I'm going into, there's a book club bag, and I had to wait a few weeks to get my hands on this book, and they were like, unless you want to take out the book club bag, but then you'll be responsible for 12 books, and I was like, nah, no thanks. So yeah, I pretty much read right through this book. Way better than the last book I read. Well, yeah, it was better. I'm just gonna say it was better. But I would say that I read it a lot faster, and I enjoyed it a lot more than reading the last book, which the last book was an okay book. It was just probably be a better movie. It was The Library of the Dead. That was the last book I read, and obviously then I read this one, and I've already started this book, but I'm not sure if I like it, so this will probably be one of the next ones that I do a review on. Hide by Kirsten White. I'm not sure if I like this book yet. I have started it, but I'm not sure if I like it. So, and I'll explain that in the next book review. I don't even know if anyone watches these book reviews, but I like making them for myself. I will go into a little snippet of why I like making these book reviews. Since I've done several of them now, I don't know if anyone even watches them. But yeah, I will definitely explain why I like making book reviews, and it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while because I read a lot of books, but yet then I like forget about them years later, and I forget if I even liked it or not. So maybe these book reviews will like spark my memory. But anyway, I'm gonna get this book back into the library so someone else can have a chance to read it. I found recently that some of the books that I am reading, A, are either coming off my bookshelf, or B, they're coming from the library, and that's a super easy way to get entertainment and really not have to pay a lot of money, unless you lose your library books, like I've done a time or two. Then you pay for them. But that's about it for now. I look forward to reading the rest of this book called Hide. I don't know how long it's going to take me. This one is, I think it's only like 250 pages long. Yeah, it's only 250 pages long, but it might take me a while because so far I don't know if I'm enjoying it, but maybe it'll kick up. But this Southern Book Club's Guide to Vampire Slaying, this book was 404 pages long, and I demolished it. So it only took me like a few days to read, maybe. Yeah, a few days to read. It was that good. So yeah, I would consider reading it. Give it a try. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Vampire Slaying by Grady Hendrix. It was good. I definitely give this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. There was some trigger warnings and stuff that I don't know if I would have, if I wrote this book, I don't know if I would have had the imagination in the same pinpoints as she did, but it was good. That being said, it's not going back on my shelf, but maybe I would consider it if it was my own book to read again, but probably not because it's going back to the library. So 4.5 out of 5 stars. This is a really good book. I would read it. Check it out. Bye, guys.